Hey, what's up guys? This is Rapid Fills here, and today I'm bringing you a special video. I'm gonna explain to you my scalping strategy. So stay tuned and let's get into it. First of all, in this video you're gonna learn how I find the trade, how I plot the strategy, how I enter the trade, how I exit the trade. So stay tuned and make sure to watch the whole video. If you haven't already, just follow me on Twitter at Rapid Fills. Subscribe to the channel. Again, as soon as we hit that milestone on the subs in the channel, I'm gonna be picking one lucky winner. I'm gonna give him a free mentoring session. So make sure to do that, and let's get into it. Finding the trade. This is one of the things that I get a lot of questions about. How do you find your trades? Obviously, different methods. One of them being the morning gappers. So the morning gappers or the prior day's movers. If the stock had enough volume the prior day, most likely going to trade the same. Not the same, but almost the same if the news is continuing the next day. So from the morning gappers, that's stuff that has some kind of news, maybe earnings, announce a contract, CNBC mention, or on TV mention, or a big research company that comes out with an article, a partnership with another company that's hyped up, like a small, for example, a small company that partners with, I don't know, maybe Amazon, Facebook, or some big name. Obviously, is going to move the stock, right? So this is in general how I look for my stocks. And if you haven't watched how I scan for stocks, go and check it out on my channel. So morning gappers, I want to see some have volume pre-market, have a range. I don't want to look for something that gapped up 20% and it's only moving like 1 cent up, 1 cent down. Doesn't make sense for me to trade that. High volume in the pre-market, some trend going on, some trend forming. It's either trending up, trending down, or kind of putting in a channel that we want to look for. Obviously the news, as I mentioned, the earning, contracts, partnerships, research companies. On Twitter, it's like super mentioned on Twitter and whatnot. Stuff like this, like Microsoft article, DraftKings. I know DraftKings won like a contract this past week, and it been moving like crazy. I don't know, with ESPN or something like that. Oracle and Microsoft been moving because of the TikTok bidding war that they got into it or something. Hyped stock. Again, these are stocks in play for like the week, the month. Like Kodak, Workhorse for like the vaccine, maybe Nikola, the electric car. So these are stuff that been running for a while. So this is stuff that is going to be on my watch list. If it's not going to be like on the opening bell, probably is going to be like throughout the day. I'm going to check the stock, see what's going on with it. Or somebody mentions the stock in the Discord chat. So if you don't know, I have a Discord chat. Go and check it out. Go to follow me on Twitter. You will see the link for the chat, and join us. I mean, it's a community. We're building the community, so why not being part of it? Again, this is the Twitter at Rapid Fills. So what I do is, as soon as I find the stock, I always go to the cockpit, right? So my cockpit essentially is one screen where I have everything that I want to look for. And this is how it looks like. It's messy. There's a lot of lines, but I've been doing this for years, and this is how it looked like. And I mean, I can make sense of it. So build yours however it's more comfortable for you. Anyway, so what I look for is the news, obviously down here. If anything is breaking news, I want to see the level 2 and level 1, and that will show me like if the stock is up for the day. It's moving higher for the day. It's gonna give me the range. It's gonna give me the volume on the day. So all the stuff that I want to see. These are just movers right here on the day. And then here we have like the fundamentals. I'll talk about the fundamentals later on, but it will tell you like the 4-week average volume, what is it, the outstanding shares and whatnot. And then I have the SPY. I have the daily SPY, how the SPY looks like on the daily, and a 5-minute moving SPY as well. So I want to see what the SPY is doing relating to the stock that I'm watching right here. And for the stock, I have obviously 1 minute, and then I have the daily, and then I have a 15-minute and a 5-minute. So why I have different time frames? Because I know I day trade the stock, And usually when you day trade the stock, you have different groups of people that they're watching the stock, especially if it has a high volume. So I want to see what the investor is looking at on the daily, and what a higher kind of time frame option guy is looking at on the 15 minute. And I want to see the intraday swing trader type of trader looking at the 5 minute. And then I want to see the scalper on the 1 minute. What is he seeing? If I can get all these 4 people lined up with the guys in the SPY, that trading the SPYs and whatnot, and it lines up with some kind of news, I mean, now you just got 4, 5, 6 people agreeing with you on the same idea, essentially. Obviously, it doesn't happen all the time. Usually we take counter trend trades and stuff like this, like today. Not like today, like this past week in the example that I'm giving here. So this is how I look at the stock. So I want to see from the top down what the market is doing, what the daily, the 15, the 5 minute, the news, if possible. If I can't find it right here, if it doesn't pop out, I'll go to Twitter and type in the ticker and see if anything pops out, anything that can tell me maybe what's going on, or ask in chat, hey, do you guys know what's the news here? And most of the time, the guys know what's going on. Something else, as soon as I see the ticker, like it happened here, CRDF, I think the stock was CRDF, I put it in my cockpit, I see it, okay, there is a potential trade here for me, let me dig deep down. So what I want to look for, what I saw is, okay, first of all, I want to see the spread. What's the spread? So the spread is the difference between the bid and ask. So essentially, if you hit and you buy at 68.55 right here, if you turn around and you sell it right away, you only lose 2 cents. But usually, if the stock is hyped up and it's moving higher, usually the spread will actually open up more. If you watch my hotkey video, I explain how I have different keys, and one of them is I want to get filled on the bid, for example, versus me hitting the ask and buy right away. So I want to know what's the difference between the bid and ask, because I want to know the spread, because I want to determine the size. I mean, I don't want to get in full size on a stock that probably will fill me, I don't know, maybe $2 from the top, and I get filled all the way at the bottom just for the stock to reverse on me. I usually don't trade those stocks. I want to see a liquid stock, like for example, in this case, it's INTC, traded roughly 23 million shares, and it has pretty decent tight spread, which is 2 cents for a almost $70 stock. That's pretty good. I mean, you can scalp this and you can make money off of it. But if the difference between the bid and ask is $1, that means you're gonna get, if you hit the bid and you're gonna get filled like $1, instantly you're down $1, which is, you don't want to. Anyways, the float. This is something else that I really want to know, is the float. If the float is less than 1 million and the stock is going up and it's squeezing, I don't want to touch the stock. The stock probably is just gonna do irrational things, because there's only 1 million shares, and then the stock probably traded like 5 million shares. That means it traded its float 5 times. That's a lot of shares traded hand, a lot of traders looking at the stock. That means a lot of emotions going on in the stock, and sometimes it gets out of hand, because what do you plan on, like a stopping, for example, for $1, it could be stopping you out for $5, because the stock just keeps going and skips up, right? If a lot of people get in, think of it as a lot of people want to get it at the same door, and the door only fits one guy at the time. People are going to start like rushing through it, and people are going to start jumping on top of each other to get out. So you don't want that. So that's why those low floats, you will see like a huge move up, and it will go like 200, 300%. And then when it come down, it will come down like a rock, because everybody just wants to out right now. So the moves are super violent, and this is what determines your risk and the amount of shares that you want to take. Something else I look for is how much is up on the day. Is it a normal move? What does the stock usually do? You know, for example, here we have like 2 stocks that recently moved. One of them is Nikola, right? Like Nikola moved from roughly 40 bucks to 75 bucks. That's a huge move compared to the prior days where it had like only, what is it, $5 move, $5 boom, $5 move, and this day moved 35 bucks. This is unusual move, right? And here Kodak, we see that it moved from what, 20 bucks to 60 bucks. So that's what, 400%, something like that. And then you see all these days it went back to normal. So this day it was huge. All these people want to sell the stock. The stock extended, and then it's sold off. So that's the wick that I'm talking about. This is the wick. This is the scalps that I want to take. And obviously, this is one method that I use to trade the market is scalping. I have other setups. I have other things that I look for that I take advantage of, but this is specifically for how I scalp those moves. So let's move on. Next one. What I determined at this point, looking at all these different variables, is the setup. So I know I'm looking at a scalp trade. That means the size has to be way smaller. That means I'm gonna give myself 2-3 entries to actually hit the top or roughly close to that. And usually I don't really fully risk my risk on the, like for example, my setup, I will risk 100% of my risk. But on a scalp, because it's a scalp, I don't really risk 100%. I probably risk maybe 75% max. And that's divided on 3 entries. Sometimes there is moments where I risk 100%. Don't get me wrong. It's a stock market. There is always an exception for an exception. But this is usually the idea. If you haven't, I put this here. If you haven't seen my the fake breakouts, this you probably want to go and follow up with this video is how I trade the fake breakouts, because this is a fake breakout setup too, and it's based on a scalp that's on something that's moving intraday. So at this point I determined the setup, the support and resistance, obviously by looking at the cockpit here. I made my lines, I drew my lines, I know exactly what I'm looking for. I know this, I know the float. The float is over 10 millions roughly. That's what I aim for, or this is what I like to trade, over 10 million, and not in the billions, because in the billions now the stock becomes super slow. So I know the setup, it's a scalp, my support and resistance based on the 15-minute, based on the 30-minute, based on the daily. I know the risk. Obviously I risk everything based on my support and resistance. As I said, sometimes I give myself 2, 3, 4, 5 entries. Looking for an entry on level 2. So this is the fake breakout that I was telling you about. So I'm looking for a fake breakout. Go watch the video. Fake breakout. So the stock is going up and pulls back, up and pulls back, up and pulls back, and up, and it's hitting that resistance, right? So it's hitting that resistance and it sucks in longs right here, and then it comes back down and it starts breaking down. This is the golden setup that I'm looking for. I can't make it any simpler than this. The stock is trending up, so it's higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, until it hits that roof, right? Hits that ceiling, and then it pulls back, squeezes those shorts, right? And then it sucks in longs. Now the longs gonna freak out and start selling and bring the stock down. That's what I'm praying for. This is what I want. So let's get into our example here. Crdf was mentioned by one of our members in the room. I looked at this chart. This is what I looked at. 5-minute chart. Stock went from $6. At this point that I looked at it, it was probably like somewhere here, 950s. So when I saw the 950s, I'm like, okay, what's going on? There is some kind of news, obviously. There is a huge move up. Shorts are underwater. How do I know the shorts are underwater? This dotted line right here is the prior close. So people probably were shorting this, thinking this thing is going to roll back down, and it actually squeezed them. So this is a good thing to know, that the shorts are upside down. And I know the longs are happy now because people are buying it, thinking this thing is going to go to the moon. These are the fundamentals of Crdf. I looked at it. It was at around 20 million. They have 23 million shares outstanding and 20 million available to trade as a float. You can see how the stock didn't have like much volume, and then started picking up. All these shorts started closing their position, and then long started getting in because they want to ride the wave. Usually, as I said, this is higher low, higher high, higher low, higher low. Now it's going parabolic and diverging from that straight line. Usually when this happens, the stock should come down at some point. I'm not saying it should come down right away, but it could have a steeper line where it has tighter up and down, up and down, up and down, higher highs and higher lows, and it can squeeze forever. Don't ever assume that this is the top, right? If I'm wrong, I'm getting out. Just plain simple. I'm not here to fight the stock. I'm not here to tell the stock market I'm right and you're wrong. The stock market is always right, and just cut it right away. You don't have to fight it. Go look at my stats on my rapid fills. I posted my stats for the week. Go and check them out. I have one loser for the week, and I know my setups work, and my profit ratio is like astronomical. Just cut it. As soon as you hit it, you're wrong. Just tell yourself you're wrong. Cut the trade. Move on to the next. Anyways, so I looked at CRDF. There is a news, huge move up. Shorts are underwater. Longs are happy. Now I'm just watching the chart and watching level 2. This is the daily, so I incorporated the daily, and you can see the stock every time it gets to this zone right here, which is a gap, the stock sells off, right? This is almost there and it sells off. This one almost gets there and it sells off. This one is almost there and it sells off. And today it's actually ramping into that zone again. What do you expect, right? If somebody's doing the same thing every time he knocks on the door, you're expecting the same thing to happen next time he knocks on the door, right? So at this point, I have an idea. It's a scalp. It's moving up. There is volume. Everything checks out. The float checks out. It's 20 million. Now I'm just watching the level 2, and I'm watching what's going on with the stock. Now, obviously, I got a couple scalps here. You can see I got the top there. As soon as it washes, I'm covering right away. These are scalps because I'm looking at the level 2. Level 2 kind of, you can see a ceiling, right? You see a big size showing up, trying to sell. They start hitting it. It doesn't break. It just comes right back down. And I jump in just for that drop, really quick, that drop. Now here, what I saw is the 1050s were getting heavy. So I actually shorted right here, and I covered right away because I saw the buying coming. It wasn't really flushing on the level 2. Unfortunately, I can't really have a live level 2. I tried getting a live level 2. I couldn't. I don't have a footage. I didn't record this day. But I'm going to tell you what I saw. So you can see I got the top. I got almost the top. What is it? I'm 20 cents away from the top probably. And this is how it looked like. This is the top right there. It's $11. And this is the line that we drew earlier, which comes right back down to the level, to the line. So what I saw is huge size sitting right here on the 11. People are buying. The time and sales is just moving fast. Now we know that 11 is a daily resistance, right? So we're waiting for that moment where it shows on the level 2, longs are giving up. So how do we know the longs are giving up? Huge seller sitting on the 11. They're chipping it away. The size keep refreshing. So 10,000 shares, it goes to 9, it goes back to 10. They're buying. That size still 10. And then all of a sudden what I saw is, you can see here where it actually got popped up. The size just disappeared, sucked in hella longs, and then the size appeared again on the 11. And this is how I knew this is the top. 1, huge size. 2, all these longs that just bought over 11, they're gonna freak out and sell because I know now longs are stuck, right? 11 is a daily resistance. Now everything is lining up for me. That's perfect. That's the top right there. And I just hammered it, and I got in at the top, and I scalped the top right there. Now next landing zone, it will be the trend line, right? So you get right there, and then we have a trend line that's passing right there, right? you get it to that trend line, and then it bounces back up and loses that support, and then you short. So you can see how the volume right here, it kind of peaks up right there. You see how a lot of people actually bought and sold at the top, and then people are going to start giving up on the stock and start selling the stock. So this is the anatomy of the trade. This is why I got into the stock. This is how I nailed the top. This is my scalping strategy with an example. Hope you guys learned something. Go follow me on Twitter. Go watch the videos on the YouTube and subscribe. As I said, as soon as we hit the milestone, I'm going to pick one winner for a free mentoring session. Thanks for watching, guys, and to the next one.